There is a strange paradox hidden at the center of human life. The world teaches us to become louder, stronger, more impressive, to win arguments, to dominate conversations, to prove ourselves, to accumulate status until nobody dares question our worth. But history tells a very different story. The people who changed civilizations were rarely obsessed with proving their greatness. Socrates admitted that he knew nothing. Lao Tzu compared wisdom to water flowing to the lowest places. Jesus washed the feet of his own followers. Buddha abandoned the identity of a prince. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth, reminded himself every morning that he was merely another mortal destined for dust. Why? Because true power does not need constant advertisement. Only insecurity does. Humility has become one of the most misunderstood virtues. Many mistake it for weakness. Others think it means having low self-esteem. Some believe humility means allowing others to walk all over you. But genuine humility is none of these things. It is something infinitely more dangerous. It is the ability to remain unshaken by praise or insult. And that kind of freedom cannot easily be defeated. The ego's endless hunger. Imagine carrying a cup with a tiny hole at the bottom. No matter how much water you pour into it, it never stays full. This is the ego. Every compliment temporarily fills it. Every promotion fills it. Every luxury car, every follower, every victory. But eventually it leaks away. Then the search begins again. Modern life has become an enormous machine built to feed this endless hunger. Social media rewards attention. Advertising convinces us we're incomplete. Competition teaches us that another person's success somehow diminishes our own. The ego survives through comparison. Humility survives through acceptance. When your identity depends on being admired, every criticism becomes a threat. Every disagreement becomes an attack. Every failure becomes a catastrophe. The humble person still experiences pain, but their identity is no longer built upon appearances. And that changes everything. Why humble people are difficult to defeat. One day someone insults you. What happens? If your identity depends upon your image, their words become weapons. But imagine someone trying to insult the ocean, calling it too wide, too deep, too old. The ocean remains exactly what it is. Humility creates this strange psychological immunity because the humble person has already accepted their imperfections. They already know they are flawed. So when someone points out a weakness, they aren't discovering anything new. This is why Stoic philosophers practice negative visualization. They imagine criticism, loss, failure, death, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because accepting reality before it arrives removes its ability to shock you. Pride says, I must appear perfect. Humility says, I am already imperfect. Only one of these positions is impossible to attack. The secret that great leaders understand. Power often corrupts, not because authority itself is evil, but because praise slowly becomes addictive. Surround yourself with enough people saying yes, and eventually you stop questioning yourself. History is full of brilliant leaders who became prisoners of their own certainty. Kings, CEOs, generals, politicians. Their downfall rarely began with weakness. It began with believing they could no longer be wrong. Humility is the invisible safeguard against this trap. It keeps curiosity alive. It allows someone to ask, what if I'm mistaken? That single question has prevented more disasters than intelligence ever could. Socrates built an entire philosophy around this principle. The wisest man is not the one who knows everything. It is the one who never stops learning, because they never pretend to have reached the summit. The strange freedom of not needing recognition. Think about how much of life is spent performing, choosing the right words, the right clothes, the right achievements, trying to create an image that others will admire. It is exhausting. Humility quietly steps outside this endless performance, not because it rejects excellence, but because excellence no longer needs applause. A tree does not grow taller because someone compliments it. The sun does not shine harder because people notice. Reality has no interest in applause. Neither does genuine greatness. Many of the happiest people in history lived lives almost nobody remembers. Unknown monks, teachers, craftsmen, parents. Their peace came from purpose, not attention. Recognition feels wonderful, but needing recognition becomes a prison. Humility quietly hands you the key. Why humility disarms conflict? Have you noticed how arguments usually become wars? Not because people disagree, but because both identities become involved. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to appear foolish. The discussion stops being about truth. It becomes about victory. Humility changes the game entirely. Instead of asking, "How do I win?" it asks, "What is true?" These are completely different questions. A humble person can admit, "I was wrong." Most people cannot, because their ego hears those words as death. Ironically, the willingness to lose an argument often earns more respect than winning one. Humility lowers the emotional temperature of every room it enters. It gives others permission to stop defending themselves. And sometimes, that is all conflict ever needed. Becoming untouchable. There is an old Zen story. A warrior visited a monk. "I could kill you with one swing of my sword," he declared proudly. The monk calmly replied, "And I could allow myself to be killed without fear." In that moment, who possessed the greater strength? The warrior controlled violence. The monk controlled himself. One power depends upon circumstances. The other exists regardless of circumstances. This is why humility is so disarming. It removes the very thing others seek to control. If someone cannot manipulate your pride, they lose their leverage. If praise cannot inflate you, flattery loses its power. If criticism cannot crush you, insults become meaningless. Humility is not surrender, it is psychological independence. The final reflection. Perhaps the strongest person in the room is not the loudest, not the richest, not the most admired. Perhaps it is the one who no longer needs to prove anything, the one who can listen without defensiveness, lead without arrogance, succeed without vanity, fail without despair. The ancient philosophers understood something modern society often forgets. The ego is heavy, humility is light. One demands endless protection, the other has nothing to defend. And maybe that is why humility has such extraordinary power, because no weapon can truly wound someone who has already accepted their humanity. So ask yourself, how much of your suffering comes from reality? And how much comes from protecting an image of yourself that never truly existed? Perhaps true strength begins the moment you stop trying to appear strong. Because the greatest victories are not won over other people, they are won over the ego that has quietly ruled us all along.